Awesome. Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Monica Riley, and I am the president of the Women of Global Change Las Vegas chapter. I am incredibly excited to have you all with us today. So far, this event, our debut of the Author's Corner, featuring number one fiction writer Karen Roberts Turner, Esquire, is breaking the internet. We have 20 guests here in our virtual living room, and we had an all-time high of 64 registered. So if you see me kind of trying to manipulate the screen as well as welcome all of our guests, I am so happy to have you here. And if you would do me a favor, please, and drop in the chat where you're from, any messages that you want to share with Karen. And I just want to share a little bit about the Women of Global Change. As I mentioned earlier, I am the president of the Las Vegas chapter. So obviously I am based here in Las Vegas. And right now we are topping the charts at about 115 degrees. It's my honor to be president of this chapter. And we are a service organization. We stand as sisters in solidarity. And on the eve of the official national Juneteenth holiday, I am proud to receive you. I know that my sisters in Washington, D.C., and many on the East Coast, we have celebrated Juneteenth for many, many years. Here in Las Vegas, we have recognized Juneteenth as a holiday for the last 20 years. But I'd just like to place our hands over our hearts for a quick minute and pay honor to Ms. Opal Lee, who made this recognition happen on a national basis. And if you also have any businesses or any projects that you're working on, and you want to share a link to an email or a website, please feel free to share that in the chat. All right, we have many more guests coming in. This is wonderful. Okay. Um, so I'd like to share with you some of the upcoming projects that Women of Global Change that we have going on here in Las Vegas. We have a wonderful series called the Fireside Chat series, and we have three upcoming events. One next Thursday, June 24th, and these are virtual, so you all are all welcome, regardless of where you're from. You're welcome to join. Next Thursday, we are collaborating with the IEBICU Stephen Art Foundation, featuring artist Ida Barnett, as we talk about healing grief through art therapy. So that will be next Thursday, June 24th. And then on Friday, June 25th, we welcome Las Vegas Symphony violinist, first chair for Celine Dion, Ms. Rebecca Sabine. She is an incredible violin sound healer, Reiki master, meditation guide, and she is going to be guiding us through violin sound sanctuary. And then on the 30th, we welcome Julie Kankai, who is with the organization here in Las Vegas, the LGBTQ Center of Southern Nevada, and we are going to have a profound discussion on pride and understanding. So those are three events. And then, you know, Women of Global Change, we encompass more than 20 chapters across the globe. Literally in countries, including we have 5 chapters on the continent of Africa. We are in Canada. We are in the District, Maryland and Virginia. We are in Atlanta, Chicago. We are in Egypt, Spain, Dubai, China, Malaysia. We are all over. So some of our sisters are going to be joining us later to look in on this replay. I know that there was a lot of buzz when they found out about Karen and Karen's book, and they were very interested. But as you know, for example, in China, it's like 2:30 a.m. So our chapter president in China will be tuning in tomorrow. I also want to share a wonderful global event that Women of Global Change is hosting for the summer solstice on Sunday, June 27th, which is we are lighting up the world. We are partnering with our sister chapter in the Philippines, and we literally are bringing light and electricity to one of their remote villages, uh, which is operating now without electricity. So I will be providing more details about that. If you are interested in finding out more about Women of Global Change, either in your city or abroad, I have entered the information in a link in the chat. And now, without further ado, Karen, come off mute.
Yes, ma'am.
I am very, very excited for many, many reasons. One, because Karen is my BFF from Vassar College. And I'm just so excited to have you here as our guest. How are you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling great. I'm a little warm. Y'all know I get hot sitting here enclosed. So I may either have to undress or start fanning.
Either one is a-okay.
Because we're in the living room, so, right?
Yeah, we're in our living room. Everybody drop in the chat, share with us what you're sipping this evening. I discovered literally, and I know it's probably been out there for a while, but I just discovered that Avion makes this wonderful sparkling drink. I'm drinking one to boost my mind, which I desperately need right now. It is a grapefruit flavor sparkling water with basil, and it also has the added nutrients of magnesium and zinc. Karen, what are you drinking?
This AHA sparkling green tea, citrus with caffeine.
All right.
Caffeinated water. You gotta love it.
You gotta love it. But whatever we need.
There's something wrong with drinking caffeinated, carbonated caffeinated water. So, okay, Fern with the jalapeno margarita. We can count on Fern to keep it for real on a Friday night.
Absolutely. Friday night, wind down. We have more guests joining. That's why I'm pausing a little bit. As you join, please make sure that you are muted. And we are recording on a global platform. So if you do not want to be seen, although I want to see your lovely faces, please feel free to fade to black your screen, but make sure that you are muted, please. All right. So I want to share a little bit about my friend, Karen Roberts Turner, Esquire. I want to read her bio, and then we will get started talking about her debut novel, The Other Twin. Karen Roberts Turner, Esquire, is a DC-based attorney, only in real life. Only in real life. Karen Roberts Turner, Esquire, is a DC-based attorney with over 30 years experience handling complex civil, commercial, and medical malpractice cases. Over her career, Karen has developed a distinguished reputation as a highly skilled trial attorney and formidable opponent. In 2013, she left the private practice of law to become Senior Associate General Counsel for Health Sciences at Howard University and expanded her practice portfolio to encompass transactional and regulatory matters corporate governance, and alternative dispute resolution. Beyond her contributions in the legal arena, Karen takes pride in her decades of community service in her hometown of Washington, D.C. She has volunteered her service and/or led numerous community outreach initiatives, associations, and professional bodies. Presently, Karen serves as vice president of her local high school alumni association and mentors young ladies navigating college, law school, and legal careers. She also serves on the board of the Delta Housing Corporation of DC and the Minnie Louise Anderson Young Scholarship Fund. Karen is a Golden Life member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She earned her BA in biology and Africana studies from Vassar College, her MA in bioethics from Georgetown University, and her JD from George Washington University. In 2016, Karen returned to her calling as a storyteller, which had been paused while she pursued a career as a trial lawyer. In midst of a snowstorm that crippled her city, she began writing a story. 5 years later, during a pandemic, Karen released her debut novel, The Other Twin. Welcome, Karen. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And please, if you've just joined us, I actually let some more folks into the living room. Please make sure that you are muted. All right, let's get started with the questions. Karen,
Yes.
when did you first fall in love with writing?
So let's go way back. Before I fell in love with writing, I fell in love with imagining. So as a kid, my sister's on the line, so I'm not going to tell any falsities. But when we were little, she's 2 years older, so she didn't play with me. So I played by myself a lot, play with my Barbie dolls, and I created entire scenarios and lives with my Barbie dolls. So I think that was the beginning of the imagination that ultimately I started writing. So around 5th, 6th grade is when I discovered that I could write a long story and it could be interesting. So that was when I wrote my first book in my English class. Miss Colicchio was my teacher. And I don't like reading. So at reading time, if I got through reading, then I could write. So I would race through the reading and then I started writing. And by the end of, I guess, that quarter or that semester, I had a book, I stapled it, and other kids in the class read it. So that was the beginning. And I've always liked writing, even when I was a scientist with Maria at Vassar in the lab. I still knew I liked writing, but creative writing and scientific writing are just completely opposite. And then law school writing, very technical, completely different. But storytelling was the theme that remained throughout. As a trial lawyer, I'm a storyteller. And my mother would probably say that stories are lies, but I am, Deirdre Robokus is here. She knows I don't lie in my profession. I tell the truth, cold, hard truth. So, but it's a storytelling thread that has gone through my entire life. It started in my head and eventually it made its way here.
Here. So
Yes.
It's always been fascinating to me that you don't like to read, but you are a phenomenal writer. So, I mean, how does that, to you, does that make sense?
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Right. Yet
so in 3rd grade, Miss Ebanks, that was the last class that I liked. Well, no, I didn't like it after her class. She made me not like reading. So from then I have not liked reading. I've done it and I've read people's books. I went to law school and That's nothing but reading. But I should like reading more than I do, but I don't. My mother loves reading. My sister, no, not me. My daughter, everybody, not me. I didn't get that gene, I guess. Like, I don't like wine either. I didn't get that gene.
So then share a little bit with us. Did you ever have, please,
Hey, Jermaine, welcome.
live. Did you ever have Ebony or Ebony's story in your mind before you
No.
started writing The Other Twin?
No.
So what was your inspiration? So what was your inspiration behind The Other Twin?
Well, let's again take a step back. My inspiration to even write creatively again was Kendall Elizabeth Turner. She was very creative in her high school, junior high school years. She wrote poems, she wrote songs, she taught herself how to play guitar. I mean, what kid of mine plays guitar, right? She danced, she did all of that. So she liked to write, I like to write. She commented on, oh, you should write a book, you should do this. And I was like, okay, so should you. So once she went away to school, I got stuck in that snowstorm and the cable went out, nothing to do. You know, 2016, we had Snowmageddon in DC, shut everything down. I had DirecTV, which meant I had no cable because the snow and DirecTV means you don't have service. So I actually read 3 books that week. I read a book by one of our church members, a collection of poems. I read a book written by one of our Vassar alums, Finding Samuel Lowe. And then I read Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes. And I think that book changed my life. I'm like, all of these 3 women who aren't writers wrote books. So let me see if I can write. I didn't have anything else to do. So I just sat in front of the computer and just said, okay, write. And I didn't have an idea of what to write. I didn't have anything. I just opened my computer and the first words I wrote were, hi, my name is Ebony. It's like, okay. And then I just went from there. I just let my imagination make up stuff as I went.
And you've
So
got a wonderful
piece that I wrote was Ebony's introduction, I guess, to me.
Yeah, you've got a wonderful quote that you share with us where you say that Ebony actually shared with you or told you what her story was going to be as it unfolded.
Right.
And so then when did Ebony become a twin? When did Ebony have a sister Essence, or were they, you know, Ebony said, hi, my name is Ebony. At what point did she say, I have a sister named Essence? Okay. Yes.
And we have a dog named Jet. That was the very first thing that I wrote. Ebony, Essence, and Jet.
And did she tell you that her sister was a twin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So the whole first thing, and I don't even know why. I'm not a twin. We don't have twins in our immediate family. I don't know if we have any twins anywhere. I have friends with twins. Yolanda Hatton, she has twins. I went to school with twins. We have lots of twins in our church. So I'm around twins, but I don't know why it came out that way. I didn't create it. I just went with it. Just went with the flow. So once I knew they were twins, I just started writing. So these words just came to me and it was just so weird. It's like when you turn on the faucet and the water starts running and it just keeps going and going and going. So I just wrote and wrote. I would sit up for hours and just words and making up stuff and telling a story into the night. I stayed up until 6 o'clock in the morning, just writing during this week because I was snowed in. I didn't have anything else to do. But what was really interesting was as I was writing, I felt like a different kind of energy, different from when I would stay up all night writing motion or stay up all night preparing for trial. It's just I had an energy that I had when I did those things, but this was a different energy. So this was a creative energy that I had not had before. So I could tell that this was different. And I could also tell that whatever it was, I needed to keep doing it because there was a lot more that I needed to put on paper really into my computer.
So as the stories are coming to you, as Ebony is whispering to you, what would you say, or would you say that your character, Ebony, had a superpower? And if so, what would you characterize Ebony's superpower as being?
Ebony's superpower is probably love to a fault. She loved her sister, her twin, so much that she let her, you know, take advantage of her and mistreat her. But that love also restored all of that in a way. I don't know if we have anyone on this in the living room who hasn't read the book, but I'll try to be careful not to reveal too much, but I apologize in advance because many have read it, so I don't want to deprive them the opportunity to share their thoughts. But that's what I think her superpower probably is, love to a fault. That's the one thing in the book that she doesn't lose that.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She doesn't lose that no matter how she's treated, whether it's by Essence or a potential suitor, and I'll call it suitor instead of boyfriend, or a professor. She's a heart-centered young woman,
Very
and
much so.
that's a very, very strong characteristic to have, because it enables resilience and loyalty and faith. And those are characteristics that are just superpowers in any one of us, right?
And I want to just say that the characters are college age, and I didn't intend to target that age group, but as I said, my daughter was very influential in my writing career. And because this whole activity was born during a time when she was getting ready to go to college, finishing high school, and all of that craziness was going on, I think those experiences kind of cemented me, traumatized me to the point that I needed to start there. I needed to start where she was in terms of her development. And I think that's why I got these people. These are probably people she met in college that she didn't even know she was meeting. But it felt like that was, and maybe I missed her so much that I had to create people that were like her to spend time with me since she was gone. I have no idea why it all happened, but it actually was fun reliving and reimagining college again 30 years later. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's what makes this book so fun to read. Okay, commercial break. All right, that's
Everybody hold up your book.
That's what makes The Other Twins so fun to read, because you will recognize, I guarantee, it doesn't matter what age or stage you're in, you will recognize a character in this book. You will recognize either a character or an experience in this book. And
even if you didn't go to college.
Even if you didn't go to college, and it's just a book that gives you warm feels and brings you joy. And then for me, I'm Team Ebony, and then I'm reading and cussing people out because they're bothering my girl, my youngin, so I'm getting on them. But it's one of those things, I guess I want to say it's interactive. And I know you mentioned just a few minutes ago that, and this is what amazes me, because twins do run in my family on both sides. And the fact that you've written a parallel universe of twins in the other twin without being a twin yourself, or without having twins in your immediate family. I know you've had twins around you, but did you have to do any special research or any special prep to understand the dynamic of twins? Because you actually capture it quite well.
So to be responsible and to be credible, I probably should say that I did, but no, I did not. I used my imagination.
Yeah.
It's called
And
fiction. That means I could just make it up. And so I made it up, and I just made it up based on how I thought it would be. And I also kind of took how my close relationship with my sister, we're not twins, but I know what it is to what it's like to have a close sister. So the part in the book where the girls are at the multicultural center. If you went to Vassar, that's hashtag the Intercultural Center, ICC. The scene there when they were about to get into a fight and Essence and Bianca showed up, that's my sister all day. All day. If anybody looked like they wanted to fight me, my sister would show up out of nowhere. And so to this day, people, I walk down the street, people say, "Are you Sandra's sister? Are you Sandra's sister?" Yes, I'm Sandra's sister. It happened a month ago. I'm however old I am, people still say, "Are you Sandra's sister?" Yes, I am.
Yep.
So she will still fight for me today too, and her daughter. They both will.
Absolutely.
So that's where I got a lot of that relationship information. But I did, after I wrote it, I let the twins, I call them twins from church, one of the sets of twins that I just call the twins. I let them read it, and it's like, yeah, that's right. And Lauren Robinson, who went to college with us, is a twin, and she also said, "Yep, you got it." So I don't feel, and I don't think that there's only one expression of twinship. You know, it could have been they're twins who are identical that or fraternal that get along, you know, close, they fight, identicals fight. There's just no one formula. But I wanted tension, and you know, so Yolanda Hatton has twins. Her twins are around the same age as the twins in the book. So she may know if, and hers are identical. She's on mute. I don't know if she can come off mute and respond.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yours are identical, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, but I could have asked her, but I didn't, because I didn't think about that. Because again, I do a lot in my head. So I didn't make an outline. Don't do it like I did it. I didn't make an outline. I just started typing and just kept typing and typing and typing and typing until I had like 100,000 words. And I'm like, okay, now what? I had never intended to let anybody read it. Every now and then I would send pieces to different friends in my posse. Just, hey, what do you think about this part? It's like, okay, that's good. But it just wasn't, I didn't even know where it was going. So it unfolded as it unfolded. So when you go to college, you have to, for me at college, the most fun thing I did was eat pizza. Because I went to college in Poughkeepsie, New York, nothing at all to do. So eating pizza and watching Dynasty was woohoo, that was Friday night. And Saturday night was washing your hair and doing laundry. But I wanted to make the kids in this book have more fun than I did. So some of that was just, okay, what didn't I do in college that I wish I had done? I can easily make that up.
Right. Oh, at this point, should we do our giveaway, one of our giveaways?
Okay.
So this giveaway will be for the first person who registered for this event.
Are they here?
I'm not sure. Is Deborah Rose here?
I don't see that person.
No.
Is this a must be present to win kind of thing?
No, because the first 3 people who registered are not here.
Oh, wow.
So we could keep going.
So it
So-
doesn't pay to register.
Right, right. But Deborah is a Vassar graduate class of, I'm not sure what class she's in, but it's, I think maybe late 70s, I
Okay.
think. Yeah, so,
So let's do a must be present to win.
okay,
Let's pick somebody who's here.
all right. Do you want to pick or do you want me to pick?
Just pick a name. I know people, so you pick a name because you don't know. If I pick somebody's name, then whose birthday? Is anybody's birthday today? If you are, you can come off mute and say, yes, it's your birthday. Okay, well, that's not gonna work.
Okay, I'm going to pick the 8th person showing up on my list.
Okay.
That would be Erica Gilmore.
Yay!
Hi.
Erica from America.
And I had a birthday 2 days ago, so.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right.
Happy belated birthday. And what did Erica win, Karen?
Well, Erica would have won an autographed book if she didn't already have one.
But you know, I don't know that you autographed mine. I should make sure the next time I see you, I get you to autograph it.
Well, you have won an autographed book. You can,
Okay,
I can autograph the other one for your mom or your sister.
there you go.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations, Erica. Okay, so I'm waiting for a few more people to show up in the living room. So I have a question before Karen and I actually read an excerpt from The Other Twin. All right, so this is another thing that has amazed me because as we all know, and we're all sitting in the same pot, this boat, whatever you want to call it. Last year was a trip. 2020 was something like we have never experienced or endured ever in our lives. And Karen, you, throughout all of what was going on with C-19 and race and social unrest and injustice and ish.
Tomfoolery and shenanigans.
That's a good one. Tomfoolery and shenanigans. You launched The Other Twin and a book tour during a pandemic. What was your blueprint to accomplish this kind of, and I'll say this, supernatural feat? Because it's one thing to drop a new book, right? But it's another thing to be so diligent and so loyal and so capable with respect to curating and navigating a press junket for the book. So how did you organize yourself? What was your process? And who collaborated with you to make these things happen?
So you English majors, right, ask very compound, layered questions.
Yep.
So that's a whole lot in there.
Yes.
So the pandemic, as I said, I started writing this book in a snowstorm, but it wasn't until the pandemic that I was able to finish editing and releasing it. So that in itself says, you know, that this was born out of adversity. But anybody who knows me know I'm very deeply spiritual, and nothing that has happened none of this is me. This is all God working through me. So I think the reason I was able to get this done, because it was time for it to finally be done. And the reason that I was able to do all the things was because we had a machine. Our Delta chapter is a machine, and the publisher is a member of our chapter. So she, at a book club that we had, and some of the book club attendees are here, she found out that, well, they all found out that I had started writing this story. And I called it a story because, again, I wasn't setting out to write a book. I just wanted to write. So she found out, and that's Victoria Christopher Murray, that I had all of these words in the computer. And she said, God would not have given you all those words if he didn't intend for you to write a book. So she then sort of mentored me through the process and then edited it. And when I tell you that my feelings were hurt, they were hurt. I put that thing down for months. I couldn't even begin to revisit it and then start the process of editing. But once I did, then it became a challenge. And, you know, I'm a Vasa woman, I'm a Black woman, I'm a Virgo. A challenge is gasoline. It just fuels me. So that's kind of how it went from there. And then once the pandemic came and I was sent home to work virtually, I had nothing but time. All of my activities were canceled. Every committee meeting, for a while, nothing happened. Not until we figured out, oh, we can do this virtually. But for a while, everything shut down. No church, no nothing. So I had lots of time to do, to work on this book. And so once it started getting real, it had to succeed. So I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna do it and fail at it. That doesn't make sense. So my approach to anything that I undertake is it's got to be excellent. And I had people around me with that same mentality. So from the book launch, which was sponsored by my chapter, and then just the support I had along the way with all of my crazy ideas. Oh, I'm going to do a mobile book signing. So I'm just going to say, okay, I'll be in this part of the city next week. Who wants me to come sign their books? So, just fun things like that, just to keep the energy up. And I wrote this book, I got to sell it now. And sure, my mother's going to buy some, my sister, I can count on certain people, but I need people I don't know to buy it. I need a lot of people that I don't know to buy this book. So please buy the book, buy it for your friends, buy it for your neighbors, buy it for strangers. Just buy it.
Yes, buy it.
So that's kind of why and how. Once you do it, you got to make sure it succeeds. So I'm trying to do that.
And I mean, you were everywhere. Media is my thing, but all of a sudden I'm seeing my sister. I'm hearing her on podcasts. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing you on YouTube. It's like I'm tuned in on all of these live things. And it was just a wonderful thing to see because as you said, and as I will echo, failure, period, is not in your DNA at all. Not with any of the women in your family that I have met and become a family member with over the last 30 years. That's just not an option. So, it just amazed me because I know the duration and the time and the technology and the discipline it takes just even to launch, just even to complete a book, let alone to launch a whole press tour virtually.
Yeah, so exactly, and I'm sure there are people in the living room who are writers, who want to be writers, who think they can't be writers, but that's the challenging part is the getting started to write.
So what is your advice if someone is in the living room right now, kind of on the fence, leaning towards should I or shouldn't I? What is your, let's say, one word, your advice of one word Right. And I echo, just do it.
That's
Just
my
jump
advice. If
in
you want to
and
write, then write. Just
yeah,
as Victoria told us, one word a day,
yeah.
and get a book like this. Is there anybody who wants to write a book in the living room? I will send this to you.
Oh,
And, so you can start one word a day. Drop your name in the chat, and we'll get it to you. But all it takes is starting. Just like with anything, laundry, grocery shopping, you have to
right.
start doing it. And once you start, then you're in it. Even reading, just start one page a day. I'm reading a book and I'm trying to do like a page, 2 pages, trying to get through it. It's going slow, but it's going.
So I think we've enticed our audience enough. Why don't we share a bit from the book?
Okay.
Let me find my script, and I'm going to be Essence, right?
Yes. So if you were at the book launch, you heard this this excerpt with a different cast member. My chapter twin. So Monica and I, she said, went to college together. We met the very first day of freshman orientation week, which was in 1986, in August of 1986, 82. Thank you, Maria. Maria was there too. She went to college. So we graduated in 1986. So August of 1982. So Monica and I were inseparable and insufferable from that moment on. Our birthdays are a week apart. We just were together. So to the point that we became called Pete and Repeat, because we were just that in sync with each other. And so it's apropos that she is the other twin for tonight. So I'm going to read an excerpt. And the reason that you're hearing, if you were at the launch, the same excerpt is because there aren't very many excerpts in the book that we can read without giving away the book. And if anyone hasn't read it, I didn't want to do that from this reading. Now, if we get into some things during the discussion, then that's different. But this is the reading sort of to set the tone of the story and how things are beginning and kind of where they may unfold to. Okay. I'm going to switch glasses so I can get in character. All right, now I'm Ebony. Costume change.
Okay.
I wake up early on Friday morning, feeling stressed and anxious about the drive back to school to begin our sophomore year at Bryce College in Winslow, Connecticut. 7 hours in the car with Essence will surely grate my already frayed nerves. Memories of my unforgiving freshman year weigh on me like an elephant on my back. My high hopes and grand expectations that college would provide easy academic success, an enviable social life, and the romance of my dreams never materialized. My grades, far from stellar. My presence on the social scene, subpar. Dating, total fail. I felt like a complete disappointment and wished I could have hit Control-Alt-Delete to restart that whole experience. My sister, unlike me, killed it in her first year. She made a ton of friends, dated cool guys, and made the dean's list. I was low-key jealous watching her excel, but happy at the same time in the beginning. When she got tight with the popular mean girls on campus, she turned against me. Behind their backs, I call them the diva wannabes. They wear expensive looking clothes, carry knockoff Louis bags, and flood their IG feeds and Snapchat stories with staged pictures of them with other social imposters. Bad and bougie? Not. Essence and her friends are a bunch of fake snobs. As much as I had hoped and prayed that my sister would rise above their bad influence. She formed a bond with those girls and purposefully and painfully cast me out. To add insult to my misery, out of nowhere, she decided to untwin me just 2 months into our first semester. Essence walked into my dorm room and closed the book I was reading, her way of demanding my attention. I remember the conversation like it was yesterday.
Ebony, we need to talk.
Okay, what now? I always seem to be doing, saying, or thinking something that she didn't like. And this type of conversation had become routine for us. For me, it was exhausting. But she seemed to enjoy tormenting me.
It's not a specific thing, but it is everything.
So everything I do bothers you today? Well, I'm so sorry. As insincere as it was, I wanted my apology to end the discussion. Of course, it didn't.
Shut up and listen.
I hated for anybody to tell me to shut up. It was rude and disrespectful. Essence knew that, but apparently didn't care. A foul clapback was my first thought, but remembering the advice of my idol, Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high, I took a deep breath and kept it high. Okay, what do you have to say?
I've been thinking.
I couldn't believe she was scared to say what was on her mind after rolling up on me like the big bad wolf. Okay, come out with it or leave me alone.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do, leave you alone. No, but better yet, I want you to leave me alone. I need you to leave me alone. I'm tired of you always being in my shadow, following behind me, copying everything I do. You need to leave me alone and stop it now.
In my humble opinion, Essence had officially lost her mind. I never copied her. We were twins. Do you hear how ridiculous you sound, sissy?
Don't call me that. I'm S.
You're crazy is what you are. You can't stop being something you're born as. Showing no regard for scientific facts or any love she once had for me, Essence announced her position and it was final.
I can do whatever I want. And what I want right now is to not be tied to you. Get your own life. Mine is no longer available for you to use.
Essence disconnected herself from me that day, which is still an inconceivable notion for me. We had always viewed ourselves as being two expressions of one existence, and we treasured that connection. Our parents said God gave us that bond. Nobody but us understood it. My unanswered question was, why would she want to throw all that away? But throw it away she did. Now she's just mean to me every chance she gets.
End scene.
End scene.
So
these glasses actually look cute. I might keep these on.
Yeah, those are cute. Keep those on.
Okay.
With that, let's do another giveaway. And it just came to my top of mind. The first person who joined us this evening in the living room. This woman waited patiently, and let's give our next giveaway to Evangeline.
Oh, Evangie. Is she here?
Well, I'm hoping she's still with us. She was the first person in.
I see her. I see her.
Mm-hmm.
So this, if you have read the book, one of the ways Ebony's mother encourages her is she tells her to keep shining her light. And this is a notepad that says, keep shining your light.
No, it goes to the person who files.
Okay.
Okay, so what are you working on now?
So I have stories that, well, characters. So I have characters that come to me and I have to figure out what they want. So I have a couple of stories with a set of sisters, not twins. And I have one with a woman who I think is a head of school kind of person. And it's a story of her and a child she gave up for adoption. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with these twins because y'all keep bullying me to write a sequel. And they haven't mentioned what they want to do yet. So I don't know. But I don't know if there are any writers, authors, musicians, but if there are, then you understand what or anybody who's creative. Well, I know there are people who are creative here, but I had no idea. And Victoria told me, the publisher, she said, people are going to want you to write a sequel. Resist that. And I'm like, nobody's going to want to write a sequel. I felt like I closed all the loops. So there's nothing left to want. I was completely wrong because I don't get hate mail, but I get messages from people that are so demanding. And this is what I want to know. A list of questions. It's crazy to me that here I am thinking, okay, I tied this loop, I tied that loop, I tied that loop, and but people read it and they see different things. They want to know, well, what happened with that? What happened with that? I'm like, why do you care about that? Because we're invested in them. So that really surprised me that there really would be interest in a sequel or a continuation. I've been asked, well, make it a series. Oh my goodness. So that was surprising to me.
So along the lines of series, and I know that some of my questions, since I've finished reading it, are downright disrespectful. So forgive those texts.
Yes, you are one of those people.
Or not, okay? What I'd like to know is if this book were going to be made into a movie tomorrow, who would you cast as Ebony?
Well, I don't really know anybody in this age. I don't know who's out there in this age group, but yeah, because I don't watch TV. I haven't been to the movies in I don't know how long. So somebody would probably have to suggest that to me.
I'll help you cast.
Okay.
What has been the most unexpected part of your journey?
That people actually want my autograph. What?
Share, do tell.
I mean, that people want me to sign their books.
Oh yeah, you're the author. We want an intimate message from you.
I know that, but I didn't expect that part of it. I didn't expect that. And I also didn't expect people our age to be so nostalgic. I mean, the love letters that I got from, thank you for taking me back to my college. It's been really sweet to see that it touches the hearts of mature people as much as it does people in their millennials and Xers and whatever other alphabets. But that was unexpected as well. That was very unexpected.
And I know we're coming to the end of my questions, but just to reiterate, there are two important things that I want to mention. Or one thing that I want you to mention, and then one thing that I want to mention. But just to kind of—
Why don't you mention both of the things? Because you probably already know what I want to mention.
So, right, exactly. So, well, but no, just to recap, let's do this one first. Just to recap, what 5 steps or let's say 3 to 5 steps, because you're saying I'm convoluted. What did you need to do to get your book published if you were to offer the advice to a young writer?
Write it. That's the first thing. I don't really know, because the way my book got published is probably different than in most circumstances, because I knew a publisher who asked me to see my book. Most of the time, when you write a book, you have to pitch it to a publisher, and they sometimes require you to go through an agent. And so you have to pitch it to an agent who then will decide if they want to pitch it to a publisher or self-publish. I know quite a few people who have self-published, and it's a way to get their book out. And if you do it the right way, and get a good designer for your cover, get good proofreaders. There's so many, Amazon kind of walks you through that process. And then it's a matter of marketing. I'm doing a lot of marketing anyway, because a small independent publisher doesn't have a large marketing budget. So you end up having to do a lot of self-marketing, which I'm not a self-promoter. I'm modest to a fault, I think. But I'm learning that, okay, if I want to sell these books, I just got to get out there and say, hey, you want to buy a book? And that people say, sure, I'll buy it, to get this crazy lady out my face. But I would say, first, write it. If you want to attempt to find an agent or approach independent publishing houses, then that's going to be a more difficult journey because there's so few publishing houses and so many people who want to have their books published. Consider self-publishing. I may try to do that for at some point, just because I want to see if I can do it. And if you're really committed to getting your book out into the world, then self-publishing might be the way to do it. But don't self-publish and not have a good person who doesn't know and love you edit it for you and proofread it for you. You need somebody that's not connected to you to read it and tell you that it's good or bad and what you should change. Somebody who's just not going to hold back. And you can hire people to do that, but definitely do that. And just, like I said, write it. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't at least write it.
And finally, if you would share with us, what is your dream for The Other Twin?
This book, I think, is and again, it didn't start out being this, but it has become almost a manual for college-age women, high school-age women, for what can happen in college and what are some of the issues and some of the decisions you're going to be faced with. And here's what happens when you choose A. Here's what happens when you choose B. Here's an example of the types of guys that you might see. What are you going to do when you encounter this guy? What about this guy? What about this guy? What are you going to do when you have friends that you're butting heads with your friends? How are you going to manage that? How are you going to deal with your parents' expectations? How are you going to deal with deciding who you are, defining yourself? Why is that even important? What does the message you tell about yourself do to your reputation? What kind of people does it attract? What kind of energy does it attract? So the stories of Ebony and Essence kind of give a blueprint for that type of decision making. And if I could give this book to every college freshman in the world, I would do that. Because it almost is like it gives them permission to talk about, or at least read about some topics that they may not otherwise want to talk about with the adults in their lives, or even with their friends. So this is a good way, he said, you know, if they all read it, then at least they can talk about the characters making those decisions, but at least they're talking about it. So that would be one of my dreams. And then of course, for it to be a movie or a TV series or something fancy like that, that would be perfect. And somebody said Zendaya could be one of the characters.
So I'd like to, as the president of the Las Vegas.
iPhone, all HBCUs should have this book on their shelves. iPhone, who are you? Do you have a name, iPhone?
Yes, my name is Wanda Jenkins, Queen.
Hey, Wanda Jenkins. So yes, I do agree that this should be, and so this is the secret. Don't tell anybody, okay? This college is fake. Like, I made it up, but I stole stuff from every college that I've ever been to. So the quad, you know, if you went to Vassar, you know, our quad, Howard has a quad. My daughter went to Ithaca. They had this big fountain in the center. I replaced the fountain with the Panther. My daughter's high school is the Panthers. There were just so many things that, like, I dropped some of the names of the buildings are last names of my friends and family members. Like, there's a character named Riley, and that girl right there, Monica Riley. So that's where I got. So I did a lot of that in the book. So some of the people who, as they read it, they're like, "That's my name." Like, yeah, that was my way of kind of saying, "Hey." So, but don't tell anybody. That's our secret.
So as president of the Las Vegas chapter of Women of Global Change, and I see some of my chapter members and a couple of my board members who are present with us this evening, we want to make one of your dreams come true. Okay. So on behalf of Women of Global Change, Las Vegas, we would like to donate 25 copies of The Other Twin to a newly developed composition writing initiative at the College of Southern Nevada called the Sankofa Literature Initiative, which will begin in the fall of 2021. So I myself or one of my board members will be in touch with you so we can get this started. What is unique about this initiative is that all 25 students in this class will be young women of color, first generational college students. So I can't think of a better way to welcome them to their new college experience as freshmen than to have a copy of The Other Twin by Karen Roberts Turner, Esquire. And as we close out, Karen, before we get to the questions, do you want to do one final giveaway?
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Okay, all right.
Oh, we didn't give away the right book. We didn't give this away.
Oh, I thought we were going to mail it.
We didn't. To who? Nobody is writing.
Oh.
We didn't get anybody to drop their name in the chat.
Oh.
I dropped my name.
Oh, you did?
And you know.
Well, so or Lisa Patterson. I'm gonna veto Wanda Jenkins only because the two winners prior are from DC. So Wanda, I'll hook you up with something else. So or Lisa Patterson said she's writing.
Okay.
So I'll send it to her.
I know someone else who's in there who's writing, and she's shy, and her name begins with a C.
Let's go down the list.
6 letters in her name, if you want to come off mute.
Hi, I'm off mute.
Well,
I'm trying to get these windows figured out. I don't know what I pressed.
All right.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I can see you now.
Chanel is my publicist, and she's also an incredible author who has published across the genres fiction, nonfiction, and poetry.
Nice.
And she's
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
And if
So
I'm not mistaken, aren't you? Did she say you were from DC?
yes,
Oh, I am too. What part are you from?
Northwest.
Oh, okay. I grew up on the northeast side and in PG County.
Okay, we don't talk about the PG County part of
Oh.
DC, but we'll just stick with the
Okay.
northeast part of DC. We got some other DCers on the line. So, okay.
Okay, so is
So
Chanel?
Chanel, you and I will
going
probably
to
chat at some point in general, because Monica
Right.
wanted us to connect. So it's good to meet you.
Yes.
So
And
I'm
is
seeing that we have a lot of writers, potential would-be writers. I saw Glenda, Jormeen, and Wanda mentioned that they are trying to, Jormeen says she's trying to write, Glenda is writing, Wanda is also getting ready to write. I think, as I'm told, everybody has a story. Some stories you don't want to tell, some you want to tell, but you need to change the names to protect the guilty. Some you just, like me, make them up in your head because they're more fun that way. You don't have to worry about the truth. You can just make up anything, and it's not, nobody can say that it's wrong. So if you want to write, then write. You know, just write, just do it, as Monica said, but just start. Karen Taylor's writing, she's got a story in her, a couple of them. But yeah, so it would be great to hear about your writing on our next Women of Global Change fireside chat. We come back together and talk about all the books that have been born as a result of this session together. That would be great.
Exactly.
But let's hear questions. I know there's got to be questions.
Well, before we get to the questions, I just want everybody to acknowledge how we can get in contact with Karen and some of the Black-owned bookstores where you can support Black-owned bookstores with the purchase of The Other Twin and other things. And so Karen has listed malikbooks.com, mahoganybooks.com, semi-shy.com, and thelitbar.com. But she's also provided a wonderful link, Support Black-owned bookstores, which will open up Black-owned bookstores across the country.
Oh, no, that's not the link. No, that's not the link.
Okay.
But I can get the link and put it in the chat.
So we'll have that link in the chat in a few minutes. And then,
Mhm.
of course, Karen's contact information. So without further ado, let's come off of the share and go into some questions.
I have a question. Well, it's not really a question. I came to the meeting late because I thought it started at 6:30, so that was my fault. Could you run the description of your book? You said it's called The Other Twin?
Yes, it's called The Other Twin. And when you say description, what do you mean? What is it about?
Just a summary. Just a summary because I missed it.
It's about a set of twins who their lives growing up, they were, textbook twins, but then when they get in college, one of the sisters wants to distance herself because she wants her own identity. And in doing that, she creates a lot of friction because she's really mean about it. And so the story, the book is about their journey of self-identity, but it's based in college. So it also is compounded by all the different types of drama that college provides, academics, parents, relationships, sisters, all the ups and downs of college. So it's really a story of both twins redefining themselves as sisters and as individuals.
Oh, Okay, I love that. I'm gonna have to add it to my TBR.
Your
Definitely.
what? What is
Oh, my
that?
TBR, my to be read list.
Oh, yes, please do. TBR. That's going to be, I'm going to have to start using that.
Okay, so you know what? We have a lot of wonderful congratulations. This is amazing. I'm writing. That's awesome. Thank you for a wonderful evening. But I'm astounded, and this is what I'm loving. We have Brooklyn in the house. We have Maryland, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, Nevada, California. This is very exciting. And as I mentioned earlier, we have broken the internet for my series slash whether it's fireside chat. At the top of the hour, I mentioned this is our debut, the Author's Corner. And Karen, I see on the sidelines that there are going to be many books born after this wonderful gathering, because quite a few people are writing, which is
Good.
great. Does anybody else have a question? We have 5 more minutes before we wrap up. If you have a question, please drop it in the chat. Okay. All right. So, Karen, what
Yes.
is your wow? Your words, your final words of wisdom.
Again, right. You're not gonna succeed at anything you don't start. And if writing is the thing you want to succeed at, you have to start. And with me, I didn't start out writing a book because that just is a huge concept. Say, I'm going to write a book. I didn't even look at it that way. I just looked at, I just want to write. I just want to write. And that made it a lot easier to just do something. It's no pressure. I was fine if nobody ever read it. So I didn't have to worry about anything. I just submitted myself to the process and let the process kind of guide me to where it wanted to take me. And I didn't resist it. I'm a science technical thinker, at least I was. So this was all new, but I let myself do it very organically. I didn't worry about following the rules, following the guidelines, and there's no rule for how you get done your process, but just do it and get it done.
And Karen has shared her contact information in the chat. And I would just like to say, Karen, thank you so much for being my first guest on this debut edition of the Author's Corner. It's been absolutely wonderful. And blessings to all of you who joined us in our virtual living room this evening for this event. On behalf of Women of Global Change Las Vegas chapter, and on behalf of Women of Global Change. Just to reiterate, if you're interested in joining us, please join us. We're a great chapter. We have several virtual events that are going to be morphed into live in-person events here in Las Vegas. If you are interested in finding a chapter of Women of Global Change in your local area, I have dropped that link at the top of the chat. And I just want to send out a message to all of my global sisterhood partners who will be tuning into this wonderful edition of the Author's Corner at some point during their daylight hours. We have 5 chapters in Africa. We have chapters in the Philippines, Malaysia, China, Egypt, local chapters here in Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, Illinois and Chicago, Seattle, Washington. And so this has just been a blessing to have you all join us and embrace all of you again on this trailblazing eve of the National Juneteenth holiday celebration. And on that note, Karen, do you have anything else you want to add before we close?
Yes, I do. I want to thank you, Monica, for conceiving this evening and for the invitation to join you. And I want to thank everyone who attended, everyone who registered, all the other 40 who registered and didn't show up. I want their names because we need to find out what happened. But I do want to thank everyone for taking time out on their Friday night or their Friday evening, depending on which coast you're on, to spend a little bit of time talking about my twins. I do appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing your comments and reviews on Amazon, how you felt about the book, or email me, call me, let me know. Like I said, buy one, buy it for a neighbor, buy it for a friend, buy it for a stranger, and continue to shine, keep shining your light.
And blessings to you all. Thank you for coming and have a safe trip home.
Right. Thank you. Oh, and if you want to get a signed book, you can contact me directly